Audio and video is clear. So, once again, this is my Telegram channel, people. Any doubts or queries that you have, you may send it over here. In addition to that, we have just started off with British administration and we went through the various aspects of it, how various changes were being made. जैसे कि कलेक्टर के पोस्ट कैसे आ गया, उसके बाद सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, प्रोविंशियल गवर्नमेंट, लोकल गवर्नमेंट, इन सब के बीच का रिश्ता क्या था, कैसे उसका एवोल्यूशन हुआ, ये सब हमने देख लिया. क्लियर. सो apart from this what we are going to see today will be a little more on the various acts which were passed during this time period और उनका इफेक्ट क्या था. One more portion will be remaining, then a third part, like another 10% of the syllabus that will be remaining, or sorry, not the syllabus, the topic under British administration, that will be taking it upon Wednesday. The reason being that Monday and Tuesday I'll be on leave. Okay, so this is where we are standing now. Just give a minute here. So the Royal Commission on Decentralization, ये इसका थोड़ा points हमने पहले भी देख चुका है. All right, the Royal Commission on Decentralization, but now we are going to just take it up a little more properly. It strongly advocated for the re-establishment of Panchayat system. Their domain of function should be expanded to village sanitation, the construction of minor public works, small civil and criminal cases, and the building and management of village schools. It recommended the establishment of non-officials as chairmen for urban bodies. It emphasized on the formation of sub-district boards to promote local interests. Construction of minor roads, primary education, and rural dispensaries, etc., were included in their functions. The Commission advised also that half the district level income be allocated to the sub-district boards to run their affairs. Bottom line क्या है? Royal Commission on Decentralization, again, look at the year, 1907. So, यहाँ पर भी the focus is more on local matters, उनके ऊपर छोड़ दो. District है collector, उसके नीचे sub district boards, be it for the villages, be it for the urban areas. अपना मामला let them handle, because we know after the 1857 revolt, they literally were struggling to run their affairs in the country because debt बढ़ गया था. So, in order to manage their debt, as well as to pacify the nationalist movement or the nationalist leaders at that point of time, they decided to go for this. So, the Royal Commission on Decentralization basically advocated what? Yaar, karne do na. Give the power to them. And with regard to what and all, minor public works, small civil and criminal cases, building and management of village schools, local कुछ मामले जो लोकल मैटर्स जो है, लोकल सब्जेक्ट्स जो है, just leave it to the local administration. If you see this suggestion, it is valid even today. Even today, these are the contentious topics when it comes to municipalities or village panchayats. We know there is a central list, we know there is a concurrent list, we know there is a state list. Have you ever heard in the news anywhere पंचायत और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के बीच टक्कर चल रहा है क्योंकि पंचायत के सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर स्टेट ने आकर कानून बना दिया? You will never hear. You're never going to hear there is a tussle going on between the state government and the municipality with regard to a particular subject or with regard to a particular legislation. Why? Because state नहीं दे रहा है. State is not ready to let go of its powers. To whom? To the village panchayat or to the municipalities. We will discuss this more when we are doing rural administration and urban administration, but I hope you get the message right. Whatever the Royal Commission on Decentralization has suggested in 1907 आज भी these are the contentious issues, especially the non-officials as chairman. Clear? The commission recommended for the election of the chairman and for majority of the members as non-officials. Provision was made to make the district officer the constitutional head of the district board. But except for the last recommendation, none of the other recommendations were implemented. Bureaucracy continued to dominate local bodies, public spirit was low, and there was always financial inadequacy. Public were always having less motivation. They were not so interested in what they were not so interested in kya election, kya hai ye sab, nothing. Because 1907, aaj ke tarikh par also people are having no interest in it. Back then, what it was, religiously divided, caste-based division. So why will they feel even interested or motivated to take part in the local elections or take part in the administration of their own affairs? Plus, the most important thing, poor finances. आज के तारीख में भी this we can see poor finance is one of the major reason why the municipalities are suffering, the panchayats are suffering. All right, people. Montagu Chelmsford reforms 1919, something which you will be going through again in your history, modern history, as well as in Indian polity. They reiterated the views of the commission. Which commission? Good morning, Yashvi. Good morning, Lipika. Good morning, Suganya. Good morning, Abhinav. Alan. All right. Now, getting into Montagu Chelmsford reforms 1919, he reiterated the views of the commission. Which commission? That is the Decentralization Commission. Introduced diarchy in the provinces. Diarchy will be taking it up separately, so don't worry. More autonomy to the provinces, imparted political education to people, local bodies should be made more representative, demarcation and reservation of taxes for local bodies, made panchayats a provincial transferred subject under the domain of Indian ministers in the province. Organizational and fiscal constraints prevented the panchayats from being democratic and active institutions of change. Here also we can see the same idea being repeated, that is, panchayat, keep it separate. Center, province, local government. Local government, when we say local self-government, it should be. Panchayat should be made more representative. And the whole organization or management of panchayat should be brought under a minister who is from the province. That means a state minister, provincial minister ke under hona chahiye. They should have their financial independence. They should have certain subjects placed under them to manage their own affairs. These are some of the most important recommendations of Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. However, panchayats were set up in many provinces and it was participative to a certain extent as elections were held for provincial councils. Provincial legislators amended the municipal acts to increase the power and independence of municipal councils, but they soon lost their sense of direction as communal riots broke out. This was also because of the communal representation that the act advocated. Municipal personnel were untrained. National leaders realized that the so-called provincial autonomy was a diversion. So, the point here was, whatever the Britishers tried to do here, even though we can say there is an element of self-government, there is an element of representative democracy, all of this was just nothing but diversionary tactics. Because ultimately, if you look at the whole administration during the British era, you can sum it up as everything had to come from the center only. So the provincial autonomy or local self-government, it was all just a diversionary tactic. Because why a diversionary tactic? Simply puts, the reason being that, see, all of this is going to make sense only if, number one, theory Y behavior is exhibited by the people. At the time of independence, that is in 1947, 86% of the people were illiterate. 86%. So what will be the situation in 1990? Definitely more than that. It will never be less than that. 86% से ज्यादा लोग illiterate होंगे. कोई दिलचस्पी नहीं था. B, it was a divided electorate. State level ho, local government, local level per ho, people were already divided on religious lines as well as on caste based lines. That means the informal groups here were formed on the basis of what? Religion and caste. Feeling of nationalism, feeling of self-determination, self-independence, self-awareness, etc. No, nothing called self. It was all basically group relation based on religion or caste. Classic example of why informal groups are dangerous. Because the informal groups formed in the pre-independent era were largely based out of religious and caste-based affiliations. You cannot take feedback from these people. You cannot have zone of indifference or zone of acceptance here, because people, whatever they will demand, they'll demand on the basis of only on what? If they are, if it's from my caste, okay, तो फिर सही है. If it's for my religion, okay, then sahi hai. This was the attitude. Unfortunately, that same attitude persists even today. I know people again, and that is there everywhere. Please understand, it has nothing to do with this state is more literate, so yahan par caste issues nahi hai. Relatively, it will be a little less. So, from the state of Kerala, I can clearly tell you there are people even today who will vote for a candidate only on the basis of their caste or maybe on the basis of the religion. When politicians are taking away votes or planning, okay, how many votes they will get from this religion or that community or this caste, they are doing it on the basis of the same relationship. And as long as such sentiments exist, the decisions will be taken more on an emotional or irrational basis. The British understood this very, very well. Even though all these theories, etc., came later itself, British, the theory part, that is, be it theory Y or informal groups, etc., came much later only. But Britishers understood that Indian psychology, mass psychology, किस चीज के ऊपर चल रहे हैं. So they played to that. So whatever they said, provincially will give you more autonomy, more freedom, etc. How many people are actually capable of understanding this? Minimum civic sense was lacking. So obviously, whatever the Britishers offered, you are offering something, but the people don't know its value, means what is the whole point? It is there everywhere, Lipika. Everywhere it is there. And see, I'll tell you for that, no, even if 100 years goes by also, another 100 years, if it goes by also, the chances are very less that the whole caste identity will lose its sheen. Very, very less it is. Another 100 years minimum is required for this caste-based division to come down. Getting the point here? Moving further. Simon Commission, 1927, to examine the impact of Government of India Act 1919 and the fitness of Indian people for autonomy and self-rule, recommended federal type government against a unitary one. Government of India Act 1935, introduction of federal polity, provincial autonomy, federalist, provincialist, and concurrent list. Again, just crisp and short versions of it only I have mentioned, because from a question paper, that is from a PubBat perspective, there is nothing much to ponder over here, because it's more to do with history and freedom movement and the struggles involved, as a result of which these commissions, etc., or these little bit of doles were given out by the Britishers. Taking it further forward, urban local government. Present form is a British innovation. That is the current form of municipality what we are having. That structure, whatever it is British innovation. It was designed according to the type of settlements. The English East India Company was established in the year 1600. From 1680s, traces of municipal administration could be seen in the presidency towns of Bombay, Madras, and Bengal. 1688, first municipal corporation set up in Madras. Purpose: transfer financial matters of local administration to the city council. There was no Indian in any of the posts. It did not prosper as people opposed the new taxes imposed on them. Okay, moving on. Royal Charter of 1720 established Mayor's Court in Bombay, Madras, and Calcutta. But it functioned as a judicial body, not as an administrative body. The second municipal charter, 1726, established municipal bodies for Calcutta and Bombay. It reconstituted the Madras Council. However, civic administration continued to be ignored. Judicial functions predominated municipal functions. That means matters of law, legal matters, civil, criminal cases, these things took the upper hand there. Not surprising, let me tell you, because a very religious society, right? Very, very religious society. So people are not bothered about cleanliness. People are not bothered about hygiene, sanitation, good facilities, good environment. To live in a clean environment is never the priority of an Indian. That is the reality. That is the reality. Let us all be very honest about it. For us, a clean environment is never a priority. Any other culture, if you go to USA, go to Europe, etc., for them, their priority starts with what? Cleanliness around them. Because they go gaga. If they don't have their environment clean, they will go crazy. We are like, if what is it? We are absolutely fine with the fact that, okay, temple is here, and opposite to that, there is a leaking drainage pipe. We are absolutely fine with it. Getting the point here. And again, Kumbh Mela. Now, Kumbh Mela, if you actually see again, we now very recently again, very clearly the Pollution Control Board have told that the presence of E. coli bacteria. E. coli bacteria, to put it very simply, it is a bacteria that is present inside our fecal matter, in the human excreta. The levels of it is higher than normal. Forget drinking it, you're not even supposed to go and take a dip in it. But is it just, why is it so? Because let us understand this concept also. This was years ago again when I went to Shabarimala, early morning, around 4 or 5 a.m. when we reached. So it's called Pamba. Those who have gone there should be knowing it or heard of it. Pamba lake is there, lake river is there. So you go there, you take a dip before you start your foot journey to Shabarimala. So we all went. I'm there, my father is there, my brother is there. We all took a dip, etc. We went. We went up, we did our prayers, everything, we came back. So afternoon when we came back, that time, obviously early morning 4 a.m. you cannot see the river, the river bed you cannot see, you can only see the river. Afternoon when we came back, we almost felt like vomiting looking at the Pamba river. Why? That river is flowing at the top, and river bed you can see, filled with human excreta. All three of us just looked at each other, and for a minute we were like, in this water, we took a dip in the morning. Seriously? This is the thing. So, the point what I want to stress is, this is something like 22 years ago, not even 15, 22 years ago I'm talking about. So, the point what I want to stress here is, we never as a society give a priority to sanitation and cleanliness. That is our legacy. Britishers, when they came also, even when they tried to do it, we were still like, why you want all of this? Let us look into matters of religion. That is why judicial functions predominated civic administration. People were not interested in education. People are not interested in health. People are not interested in sanitation. People are not interested in a clean environment. Religion Zindabad, caste Zindabad, which exists even today. Clear? Act X of 1842, Conservancy Act of X of 1842 for Bengal, first formal measure of municipal legislation other than the presidency towns. Town committees were established for sanitation purposes, but remained inoperative. Act 26 of 1850. It was drafted for the whole country. Local committees were constituted to make provisions for utilities and amenities. That is, एक committee, एक utility के लिए, ऐसे. Municipal functions consisted of conservancy, road repair, lighting, framing of bylaws, and their enforcement by fines. Conservancy means again to protect. It worked to an extent because taxation was indirect. By 1858, the act was introduced in more than 300 towns and villages, but still, in most of the towns, the act was not implemented. There was no interest from the side of the people. And again, the same thing. Provincial government was like, why should I give away my powers to local government? Agar sara kam village panchayat and municipal councils are doing, then why am I here? Getting the point? जैसे कि this is the same issue what we are having even today. Center is there, state is there, village panchayats are there, municipalities are there. States don't want to give away their powers to village panchayats और municipalities. Why? अगर विलेज पंचायत सारा रोड्स बना रहे हैं, सैनिटेशन, ड्रेनेज, सारा काम विलेज पंचायत कर रहे हैं, म्युनिसिपैलिटीज भी कर रहे हैं, local population here will only be interested in panchayat elections then, and in the municipal elections then definitely yes, center also, because that is देश के लिए. state कौन चाहता है भाई? state का क्या जरूरत है? All my work is getting done by the village panchayat, all my work is getting done by the municipality. Why should I worry about the state? Automatically that is how people will start thinking. So state का कोई रोल ही नहीं होगा. This is what state governments fear. That is all only reason why state governments don't want to give away any powers to either the village panchayat or the municipalities. ये भी ब्रिटिश के जमाने से we are having it. Clear? Resolution of Sir Montgomery 1862. Municipalities were started. They were informal institutions. They were responsible for conservancy, drainage, water supply, lighting, street pavement, sanitation, and the collection of octroi. Octroi का मतलब है, it's like a local tax. Clear? Royal Army Sanitation Commission 1863. It reported on the unhygienic and deplorable condition of the towns to the government. Following this, the government authorized the provincial governors to form municipalities. For the government that was suffering from financial problems, municipalities helped in reducing the burden. This further encouraged the setting up of municipalities. Urban local government mein, we are seeing how the whole idea of the idea of municipality started coming about. Okay? So we had started our discussion with Act X of 1842, which basically created what? Town committees. That was the first stage. Next stage involved Act 26 of 1850, which basically talked again about what? It was done for the whole country, with the focus being on, again, local committees. Then Resolution of Sir Montgomery, again that also, here municipalities were started, but shuruat. Then Royal Army Sanitation 1863, Army basically said that the towns are in deplorable condition. Like I told you, we are a very, very unhygienic society. We have to accept it, no other go. We are a very unhygienic society. Britishers were fainting and falling looking at our deplorable condition of our town, etc. Based on the recommendation of the army again, municipalities, etc. were formed exclusively to look into sanitation issues mainly. Plus one more thing the government felt, thank God, municipality means let them only handle their matters. Let us not interfere in it. We can save on our money, our fund. Aage. Resolution of Lord Mayo 1870. Provincial governments were authorized to hold elections for the members of municipal boards. Strengthening municipal institutions through the association of natives and Europeans. Local taxation was encouraged to meet the expenditure. Municipal acts were passed empowering the provincial governments to introduce elective system in the municipal committees. However, the municipalities were completely controlled by the government. Candidates who stood for election were from high class or caste. So if you read it first, that is Resolution of Lord Mayo 1870, when you read it first, you may feel, wow, democracy, election, great. But these are, again, British creation. And Britishers, unlike Indians, did not immediately give voting rights to everybody in their country. What did Britishers do first? Britishers basically ensured voting rights should go first to men who were men. In that, again, men of high social standing, men with property. This is how they gave their voting rights. Women were given voting rights only much, much later. So here also Britishers did the same thing. They tried to bring the natives and Europeans close, but in this process again, they brought only those natives who are having a high social standing. Appointments were made on the basis of social status. Reappointment was frequent. Local government thus confined itself to promulgating new regulations, collecting taxes, and above all, safeguard the British interest. Be it sanitation, be it hygiene, all of this was done again why? To protect the British interest only. Because again, they are not used to this climate. We are used to living in absolutely filthy conditions, not the British. So for to protect them, their business, their administration, their staff should not go sick. They ensured whatever was needed. From 1882 to 1885, Lord Ripon's resolution saw the passing of municipal acts in Punjab, Bengal, and Bombay. Punjab district boards made it obligatory to establish district boards. The most remarkable innovation proposed by Lord Ripon in 1882 was the establishment of a network of rural local bodies. The provincial legislation of 1883 to 1885 had created a two-tier system with district boards and sub-district boards based either upon the subdivision or the tehsil. District boards had coordinating authority only. The resolution of Lord Ripon met with little success. So district boards and sub-district boards were made. Again, I know it is a repeat. I know we are repeating Lord Ripon also. It is just that I have first given the main contributions by most of the individuals, governor generals, etc. Then I have separated it out as separate topics also. That is, under rural local government, what were the initiatives made? Under urban government, what were the initiatives made? All right, that is why most of this you will feel this we have already seen, this we have already discussed. I just clubbed it together again. The provision of non-official as chairman of district boards was mostly ignored. Curzon preferred centralized control to decentralization and administrative efficiency to political education. So Lord Ripon wanted the Indians to be politically educated so that they are capable of self-government in the future. They should have a taste of how it is to be in a democracy and all of that. Curzon was like nothing doing. I want efficiency. So for efficiency, I need what? I need officials as the chairman. First thing. Second, why should I waste my time and effort for political education? I need efficiency at every corner. I don't want all this politically. Let us educate them. Let us democratize the whole thing. I only need the top class and brass. And all said and done, I don't care about your decentralization. All of you, whatever you do, orders will come from the top. You will have to follow it. Getting the point here? So one or two people here and there would have said, okay, let us try to do this. Let us try to do decentralization, etc. It was only on paper. It was not actually properly implemented. Clear? Moving on. Act of 1892 elevated the criteria for franchise, increased government controls, power of municipal boards were reduced once again. Bottom line is simple. Once again, reduced. That means if you really see, British were largely not interested in letting go of their powers. Allowing local representation, all that, they were generally not interested in it. That is why you will always find more of officials in the board. Chairman, always it used to be official, not an elected person. presence of officials or presence of collector or officers from the imperial civil service, all of these used to be there. Taking it further forward, judicial administration. So let us sum it up, whatever we have understood till now. Be it rural local body, village panchayat, completely ignored. That much we can say. Panchayat matters, etc., completely ignored. Few people here and there would have said, let us bring back village panchayat. Let us try to give them local taxation. Let us try to give them some subjects under them like roads, works, canals, etc., irrigation works, all that. Let us try to give it to them. But it was never properly implemented. District boards and sub-district boards were there on paper, but effectively they were all again toothless. Why? No financial independence. Local taxation also, if you see, was largely very less. And that again crippled the municipal activities. Then, most of the British officers or the governor generals of that time were not at all interested in giving more powers to the municipal board. They wanted the control to be in their hand. Whatever little bit of democracy that we talk about was just confined to people of high social standing. Europeans or Britishers were not at all interested in mingling with people of a lower standard. This again ensured that only those people who are supportive of British interest remained in the municipal board or in the councils. Clear, people? Any doubts here? All right. Now, judicial administration. 1726 Mayor's Court established in Madras, Bombay, Calcutta by the East India Company. This marked the evolution of the company from a trading body to a ruling power with elements of judiciary. This marked the beginning of codified laws, as the earlier system segregated justice based on religion or caste or both. Earlier system was like that, right? Because earlier they had kept a separate court. Okay, for Muslim personal laws, let us keep a separate court. Oh, Hindu cases are based on the Dharma Shastras. Okay, then let us keep a separate court for that. Now, finally, the Britishers wanted clarity. Oh my God, we need clarity here. This is becoming so confusing. So the mayor's court, mayor, they decided the judicial matters. We have seen it under urban administration already, where these courts were established. So everybody thought mayor, when you generally say, it is generally largely for what? City administration. But the mayor's courts that were established in British India, their predominant role was what? Settling the cases. Civil and criminal cases, in dono ke upar they had to settle it out. So Britishers tried to bring a sense of clarity with regard to the law. That is why in the initial part we wrote, under legacy we wrote that Britishers were responsible for bringing in rule of law. Clear? Lord Warren Hastings. Again, let us see the small contributions made by various people. District Diwani Adalat. Civil disputes presided by district collector. District Faujdari Adalat. Faujdari, law and order, criminal cases, assisted by Qazis and Muftis. Qazi, Mufti, again, Islamic personal law. Appeals court under Sadar Diwani Adalat. Nominal authority of the Nawab continued. Nominal authority means what? Just dikhane ke liye. Nawab as in the king. Clear? Under whom? Lord Warren Hastings. Then, Regulating Act of 1773 created the Supreme Court that had original and appellate jurisdiction, institutionalization of the civil judicial system. All judicial orders were to be in writing. Hindu and Muslim laws were compiled and translated to English. Standardization of law led to the creation of lawyers. Because British did this, what happened? Being a lawyer became a very demanding, in demand, not demanding, I would say an in demand profession. Because now once proper system, when they established, what happened, you had to hire a lawyer to deal with your cases. So that is how, if you see, again we will be dealing with this in the parliament also. If you look at our initial parliament, the first parliament of our country, majority of them had a legal background. Majority of them. So all these initial people, that is initial leaders of our freedom struggle also, if you see, all of them were largely lawyers. Muhammad Ali Jinnah and all, it is being said that the suit that he used to wear, it was of a very rare, that is, it was only available in one particular place in London. Even today it is there. I forgot its name. Only from there only he used to get the silk. I mean the silk, that is the cloth of the suit. Only from there he used to get it woven, stitched. That is why if you always see Jinnah and all, the suit that he wears, it is like absolutely tailor made for him. So that is how rich it was, that profession was. Why it happened? Britishers codified the law, kept it in English, put everything in writing, made everything crystal clear. Okay, this means this means that. They made clarity to it. Now no more you will go to a Nawab's court or a king's court to argue your case. You directly went to the proper courts here. Clear? Cornwallis Code of 1793, separation of revenue functions from civil code. Why? Revenue functions went to who? Directly to the collector. Divested collector of judicial functions. दोनों. सिविल कोर्ट से रेवेन्यू फंक्शंस हटा दिया, निकाल दिया. किसको दे दिया? कलेक्टर को. कलेक्टर के जुडिशियल फंक्शंस उनके हाथ से भी निकाल दिया. Created the office of the district judge. District Faujdari courts were abolished and circuit courts were set up, functioned as court of appeal in both civil and criminal cases. He established sovereignty of laws, all courts to be headed by European judges. Provided for a hierarchy of courts from district and city courts to provincial courts. The Cornwallis Code excluded Indians and was very racial in nature. Thomas Munro, collector should be vested with the authority of magistrate. Should be vested with, that means collector को वापस उसका judicial power दे दो. Reconstruction of village panchayats, appointing native district judges or commissioners. One minute. Reconstruction of village panchayats, appointing native district judges or commissioners. कुछ लोगों को appoint करो. Why? So that some sense they also know the local culture. Some element of local representation should be there in the judiciary. Once again, more powers for collectors. Obviously, more power because वापस you are giving the magistrate powers to the collector. Mount Stuart Elphinstone codified the laws, conferred on the people a share of the administration, spreading sound education. Small things only. Because again I told you why education is needed. थोड़ा education जरूरी है minimum civic sense लाने के लिए. Minimum civic sense. Getting the point here. Taking it further forward, Lord Mackenzie, primary jurisdiction of all cases except a few should be vested with Indians. Removed intermediate courts as it slowed down the judicial process. Enlarged the jurisdiction of district courts. So from here onwards, we are seeing the slow evolution of what you see as integrated judiciary, which is a feature of our constitution today. Independent integrated judiciary means what? Lower courts, the high court and the supreme court. So A stage B, this evolution, this also, or this structure what we have today, this also has evolved from the British. Lower courts were there. Then there was circuit courts, which was a court of appeal. Uske upar you had provincial court only. लेकिन बाद में उससे इवॉल्व करके क्या हुआ? लोअर कोर्ट, हाई कोर्ट, सुप्रीम कोर्ट. Lord William Bentinck. Circuit courts were abolished and the powers and functions were transferred to collectors. Persian and vernacular language for lower court proceedings. English for Supreme Court proceedings. Yeah, which is there even today. Local languages में आप lower court में तो आप case you can deal it, but as you go to the higher court, Supreme Court, it is largely English language. Why English language? Means to give clarity. There is no there is no confusion with regard to the verdict, the judicial order में कोई confusion नहीं होना चाहिए. That is the reason why English is preferred. He set up the Macaulay Commission, which gave its recommendation years later. Based on Macaulay Commission, CPC 1859, Civil Procedure Code, Indian Penal Code 1860, Criminal Procedure Code 1861 were prepared, which have all been replaced now. Indian High Court Act of 1861 instituted 3 high courts, Bombay, Calcutta and Madras. Macaulay, credited with the preparation of Penal Code of India and codes of civil and criminal procedure. He codified the Indian laws. Government of India Act 1935 established the Federal Court. The British introduced the concept of rule of law, introduced the concept of equality before law with an exception. What was the exception? Europeans were always given preference. Just give me a minute here, people. All right, people. So that's about it, people. I know few more topics are there, but it's too historical and hardly anything is there that we can analyze from a public administration angle. So that is why I've kept that last few topics. Again, we'll do it in the next class. And apart from that, what I wanted to tell was, yeah. So Wednesday, you will be having your next class, and Wednesday we'll be also starting off with our second chapter. We will be definitely seeing its PYQs also. So that time you will get an idea what to expect from this chapter. Clear? Now, all the 3 sections are equally important. But again, I would say don't try to by heart anything as such. Keep reading it. And even if you say, sir, can we do this chapter towards the end? Like after we finish the rest of the chapter, shall we do it towards the end? Still, that is also fine. All right. It is just this first chapter where you will have this issue. Second chapter onwards, we will have everything. It's your familiar terrain. That is preamble, constitution, the union government, the state government, high court, supreme court, lower courts, and the constitutional bodies, urban administration, local administration, the various committees, the reforms, all of this put together. Clear? So that's it, people. With that, let's call it a day.